On KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz going live. Very cool. I'm excited today. If you guys can already see it up there, we have Gabe Cordova with us, straight out of Firepoint. And, this is one of those things I was pretty blessed. A buddy of mine, Paul Neeb, had mentioned, he says, hey, you need to reach out to Gabe. And not only that, but Paul started showing me Firepoint. Now, a lot of people that watch me on YouTube know I've been a huge Sync fan for a very long time. And I tell you, I'm still a fan. However, I really love Firepoint. So that's why KSA is actually transitioning to Firepoint right now. And then when I had the opportunity to actually interview Gabe, because he's always, you're all over the country, right, Gabe? You're all over the country. I mean, you're always flying somewhere, you're going somewhere, you're doing something.
Yep.
And you were just out here in Temecula not that long ago. And,
Yep.
I was like, if I can get this guy on, this is going to be pretty fantastic. So thank you so much for taking the time to jump on with me. Some guy that only has 1,000 people following him on YouTube. I just think it's cool. And hopefully, the big one for me is we can really get some good information out to people, because I got to admit, I was extremely ignorant to Firepoint. And if I had not been, we would have probably switched sooner.
Right.
So that's what I'm hoping we can do today. So,
Very cool.
Gabe, do me a favor, introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me. So Gabe Cordova, Firepoint president here, one of the founders. But backing up, I've been an agent right there with you guys, right? I've been an agent for 15, 16 years, team lead, broker, my own brokerage. So I've been right there in the trenches with you. Been using everything out there along the way to build my business, then my team, then my brokerage, and then even onto my satellite teams that I was running throughout the country. And really just got to the point there was some great stuff out there, right? The big thing for me and some of the other founders was that everything that was on the market at the time prior to Firepoint was, good software, but it was being developed from people, engineers, software developers for real estate agents. And a lot of these people had never sold a home themselves, had never been in the trenches, had never hired an agent, never built a team, never had to get into their CRM to hold their teams accountable, to understand what was going on and how it needs to work. And so that original group of us really, let's build our own. We need to have something that's built by agents for agents. I don't know, you kind of see it on the wall behind me, and it's not just something that we put on the wall and we put it on printed material to hand out to close deals. It's something that we absolutely believe in, right? There's got to be a better solution that makes sense, that have had the eyes of agents on it before it gets released and handed off to people. And as an agent starting out, I'm sure Paul would tell you, and you've seen in the business, it's easy to spend money in real estate. As an agent, as a team lead, as a broker, man, we can spend a fortune piecing systems together. And it just shouldn't have been like that. I started off and I didn't have a lot of money for my CRM, or when I started my satellite teams, the budget for those teams weren't the budget that I had here in Boise when we were selling, 5, 6, 7, 800 homes a year, right? I needed something I could scale. And so we really wanted to go into it with a software that was not only built by agents for agents, but was user-friendly. It made sense. It followed a flow that the agents would actually use, because it doesn't matter how big that toolbox is and how many tools are in there if the agents aren't going to use it, right? So it had to be user-friendly and scalable, right? I didn't want to have to drop $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month to have a CRM website integrated with an IDX feed, and then the back end.
That's been some of my biggest complaints. We were talking right before we jumped on, and a lot of people that know me, I was a huge tech guy for 20 years. That's what I did, was tech. And my biggest complaint so far when it comes to real estate is, there's so many different types of products in order to get to a solution. Right. And that's when I remember when Boomtown came out. So I started using Boomtown years ago, and that was kind of like the start of a revolution. But my biggest complaint with almost every system, even systems that we use within our brokerage right now, is it's built by some smart guy that's locked in a dark room with a whole bunch of queso dip and Mountain Dew, instead of by somebody that actually sells homes. Right. And I talk a lot about that on the Real Estate Blitz. Not only that, but even a lot of the coaching programs are the same way. There's people that are coaching that aren't even selling real estate. So it's kind of
never sold a home.
They've never sold real estate. And it's kind of like, okay, so you've never sold a home, but you're going to tell me how. So what you're really doing is you're regurgitating stuff that you've heard because you have a followership. And this is what I really liked about Firepoint. And it's funny because I'm not negative. I ask a lot of questions if I don't understand something. And when Paul brought Firepoint to me, he's like, you got to see the system. I'm like, first off, it was no. And it took him 2 weeks to make me sit down and look at it. But then I started asking a bunch of questions. What was awesome is that every time I had a question, there was an answer, and the answer actually made sense. That's the best part.
Awesome.
It's intuitive. It's intuitive. It's designed in such a way because agents, we are like our own breed, the way that we're built. It's true. Like whether some of us are lazy in certain ways, but we're really aggressive in other ways. And it's just kind of cool because it's built so intuitively to how an agent thinks that I wasn't having to figure out, well, where would this button be? And how do I find this metric so I can figure out what's going on? It's all right there. So
I'm getting off the phone and I need my lender to reach out, but now I got to take all these notes and put them over here and then email or text. So I'm like, no, you should be able to just literally put that into the lead profile and mention them like you would on social media or anything like that, and have all that information directly go to them without leaving. So it's all like, yeah, it's absolutely stuff like that. I remember back in the days, because I've had all the other softwares as well, and thinking, my gosh, I need to be able to put more than just 1 or 2 agents on a lead profile. I have a transaction manager, I have an assistant, or I have an ISA, or I have whoever's doing this, and we all need to be able to communicate. But I'm being told by my software company that no, I can only have X agents or people assigned to a lead. And like, no, if I want to have 12 people on there, then I want to have 12. If I want to have my listing agent, my buyer's agent, my listing coordinator, my ISA, and then my client concierge person on there, then I should have them on there in addition to my lender. So there's just, when you haven't sold homes or you haven't built a team, and again, what I love is that it doesn't matter if you're a team of 1 or a team of 30 or 40, this big one, you've got to be able to adjust and scale and not change CRMs.
Right. And that was one of the things I was going to bring up. So this is one of the major selling points for me with Firepoint. So again, a lot of people that know me, I'm a huge fan of Sync. And my issue with Sync is it's good for a big team. It's not good for a small team or an individual agent. Firepoint is. It's good for a big team, but it's not good, in my opinion, it's not good for a brokerage. And, we transitioned from a mega team to a brokerage. And it can support a brokerage, but it doesn't allow the individual agent to even build within themselves to create a team or share product information content to other agents in order to create their own separate pools and repositories. And that bothered me a lot. And it's so cool because Firepoint, again, does this intuitively to where it allows the flexibility to scale. And that's magic. Real quick, we have one question. There's somebody that's actually at Summit right now, or he's heading to Summit. Says, hey, Kris, let me pull this up. Hey, Kris, I'm heading to Summit to find out more about CRMs, looking into Follow-Up Boss. And so first off, Michael, if you've watched any of my videos, Follow-Up Boss is not it. Okay, but that's okay. And intrigued, would you be open to chatting? Yes, of course, Michael, I'm open to chatting, but what I would rather you do is actually put up your questions about CRMs right now, because I have the man, the myth, the legend, Gabe Cordova on right now to talk about, because I'm going to ask him some tough questions. And one of the ones that I'm going to ask is like, what's the difference? Because if you look on the website for Firepoint, it says it's a better product. It is. Right. It's a better system, right? So what's the difference between Firepoint? What makes it different? What makes it unique? And that's it. So Michael, make sure you put up the questions here. I'm going to post them up, and he's right here. Let's have him answer it. You look at other people when you go to Summit, and you'll probably see me at Summit too. I got free tickets. Thanks, Tom Ferry. They sent me some free tickets for me and some of the people on in the brokerage.
Great.
But this is your time right now to ask. So, but for you, Gabe, that's actually one of my questions. What is the difference? What makes Firepoint unique?
Yeah, so a couple things. I think it's a great question. So one thing when building it, you have to be scalable, right? So the last thing we want to do is, and you're going through transitioning CRMs is not enjoyable. When it's a necessity and you find the right platform, it's definitely worthwhile. Do it, but you need to be able to grow and scale. So whether you're someone, it sounds like was it Michael just had the question? Mm-hmm. If you're Michael, it sounds like it might be a first CRM. What's great about this is if you're going to I've heard great things about Follow-Up Boss. Everybody has their opinion. My understanding, not a full CRM. You don't have a website and the back end. They don't talk to each other, guys. Whether you use Firepoint or someone else, that is the key. Everything has to talk to each other. So, I mean, I've been known on stage for talking about the best CRM is the one that you use, and I believe it, whether it's us or someone else. You just have to freaking use it and the tools. But anybody looking at a CRM, and again, whether it's us or someone else, has to be all in one. You have to have that front-facing IDX website that is integrated with the back-end CRM, guys. That's when the magic happens, not just from lead generation to lead capture, but conversion, follow-up, everything working smarter, not harder. So that's one thing I'll just comment to that. But what makes us different is starting with scalability. So if you're starting new, and it sounds like Michael might be, you'll be able to get in. And if your budget to start with the CRM and lead gen is, let's just say $1,500 or $2,000, just making up a number, you don't want to spend 100% of that or 90% of it on your software and website. So with us, we've created it to where you can scale. So we have 2 products, right? It's not a one size fits all. Everybody's business is different. So you can start with us. It's still built for teams. So it always at a minimum comes with 2 logins. It's $175 a month. That's your website, backend CRM, and everything that you need to do that so you can scale as you grow. Now, if you're a larger team or a brokerage, we have our Firepoint product, which has more features, starts at $350, but that's 5 users, right?
So let's talk about that real quick. I want to back you up because you just said something that was insightful. It was actually a question I just wrote down. So you started off, let's say you have a budget of. Now, what I found, because I have people from all over the country that call me from watching the Real Estate Blitz on YouTube, and I spend a lot of time with them, and they don't have the budget that we have or what we spend on inbound leads. We also have an ISA. We have people that sit here and just crush a phone all day just to schedule appointments for us, right?
Yep.
So a lot of agents, especially one-off agents, single agents, this is what I don't like about Boomtown and what I don't like about Sync is, what about the single agent that's like just starting, but they understand that being able to create this opportunity. And I've done videos on YouTube as well, where it's like being able to have that IDX feed and that point of presence in a sense, and being able to, whether it's sharing it out, giving it to clients, getting people on your own search engine, so you can actually, looking at putting your own database into there. That's huge. Now, how much did you say that is for a single agent?
So well, we call it Ignite. So it's not single agent. It's still 2 users. So it's still 2 logins.
So it's still 2 users.
$175. $175.
Wow. See,
and
that's
the reason,
crazy.
Let me tell you
that's
why,
awesome.
Though. So some people started coming out with their single user, I think, to compete. But here's the thing: you still need 2 logins, guys. The magic happens. You can't be prospecting every day. You can't be speed to lead, doing the things that you need to do. What I call rule of 3: the 3 contacts a day for 3 days, 3 times a week for 3 weeks, 3 times a month for 3 months. You can't be doing that and out showing property and taking listings, right? So we know when you partner with a lender or get an assistant, so you need that second login. When everybody's working in the same place with all the notes in the same place, magic starts happening, guys. That's when conversion comes. If it's a lender, they can help pay for a lot of the lead generation. And you shouldn't be dropping $1,500 a month if you're a 1 or 2 person team just for your software. If you're dropping $1,500, $1,300 of that should be going to your lead generation. That's what's bringing in the money, right?
The truth.
And we do this where that platform, to be honest, we don't make anything really on it. This is because we want to grow with you, right? I was that person and I didn't have the money to spend all the up here because I'd have nothing left for lead gen, but then I had to change CRMs. We want to grow with you, right? We want you to grow your business with this and come with it. So if you've ever heard me speak at any of these conferences, I mean, we were machines at my brokerage and with my teams producing and converting PPC leads. And I know it's a hard way to go, but that was our sweet spot. And we were doing literally hundreds of them a year. It's because we had a system, and it's having multiple people work leads and being able to communicate with each other on that lead profile. But we want to give you the ability to grow. So the question was, well, how are we different? So we want to start with scalability. And as you add a user, it's $50, you can grow with it. But again, it's still giving you those tools to communicate, whether it's with your assistant or the other lender involved that you're doing lead generation with, so that everybody's in one spot working more efficiently. And then the other one that we touched on earlier is the features that we're building. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. Do we have every single feature that people who've been around for 10, 15 years have? We don't. We have a majority of them, but what I know is we focus on the features that count the most, that you need to not just generate leads, but convert them. You don't have to have every tool.
Noticed. So as I keep getting deeper into Firepoint, because we are doing this conversion right now and transferring it over into our brokerage. I hate, even when I was a tech guy, I hate stuff. I think it's great to have fluff stuff there, but at the end of the day, those are distractors. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to create a profit. I'm trying to create a team or build a business. I'm trying to build a business, right? And the way I look at it is, if I'm building a business, I don't want the extra stuff. I want what works. Right. And I mean, and again, you brought up something earlier, and I was like, ding. So spending $1,500 a month just as the entry point to get into something, and then you still don't have money to actually start putting into building a business.
Correct. Absolutely.
Now, again, that works very well if you have a profitable team, or if you're extremely profitable, but it doesn't allow, it's sort of like how I feel about some programs. It doesn't allow the average agent, the person that's getting into this business that wants to grow, the person that wants to succeed, the person that wants to become successful, and then eventually does want to spend $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month. They want to get there. Right. But nobody's allowing them the opportunity to break in.
But even when I get to the point when on some of my teams, I was spending, just on PPC alone, anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 a month. That doesn't count Zillow. That doesn't count Facebook. I mean, the difference in $1,000 a month still that's
It's
enough.
$1,000 a month.
Right, that's
It's a
4 or
lot of
5
money.
more buyers agents that I can have on my team that I'm feeding leads to, right? That are income producing. So we still we have all the tools we're releasing. We have some amazing features coming out even next week. One that I'm super excited about, but the usability, right? We're designed by agents, so the workflow makes sense. The communication, everything's in one place. We don't want you scattered. I know I'm one of you, so I'm going to say something right now, and I'm one of these people. It's hard enough to get agents, again, I'm one of them, to log into one system and work to do your job. But if you're having to log into 2 or 3 things, and then you're having to go to your email, your text to communicate with your TC or your lender or whoever, you're not working efficiently enough, and you're going to start skipping those steps. I was doing it. Everything needs to be in one spot, and you're not dropping the ball, and that conversion starts going up.
And it's interesting because Jason just put up a question. He says, and it goes right into what you just said. Does Firepoint automate and manually send text messages?
Yeah, so we do at lead distribution. We do at lead. So we have a super insane, robust lead distribution, which actually is going to go to the next level next week, where we will send out auto text messages. Currently, just with the can spam laws and things like that, with auto messages going out, we're being very careful on anything that we build in, even whether it's from our texting to our dialer, that anything we build in that could be illegal and get you in trouble, we're doing integrations with. So currently, auto text messages, yes, at lead distribution, because you're by law allowed 1 without permissions and certain things. After that, it gets very gray. So we actually had a meeting earlier today how we take that to the next level. But currently there is 1 auto text, but then obviously the auto emails and mass emails and drip campaigns and stuff outside that.
Right. Awesome. I mean, and I just think that's really, really cool. And definitely, Jason, thanks for sending the question. If you have other ones, please send them up. But I think having everything integrated is so important, because you just don't really have a combined robust platforms. None of them, they always are lacking something, and then you have to go out and purchase some other product. And I think that's what I found really, really interesting as we started digging deeper into Firepoint. One of the big reasons why we made the change. So, I want to,
and that's our goal. Our goal is to try to get you all in one spot. Do we have everything? But we're constantly evolving, and everybody's different, right? So what's all in one to you or somebody else might be different, but that is the goal. How do we get most people, especially the agents, working out of one spot and do even more integrations as times are changing? I mean, working on some great integrations right now with like Ylopo and other companies, to where now you can start doing add-ons. So you're still working out of one central place, but then adding on.
Yeah. So let's talk quick, because that was important to me as well. So not just Ylopo, but I was looking at like BombBomb. For those, for those of you that are watching this, or if you watch this later on YouTube, if you're not integrating video into your text messages that you're sending potential clients or clients, if you're not integrating that by email, if you're not doing it like at all, you need to. BombBomb is a form, but like involved. But what else kind of integrates and ties in?
100%. A huge fan of BombBomb, integrated with them, and I think it's probably one of the most underutilized tools. Even if you don't have BombBomb, you don't have to use BombBomb to send video, emails and stuff through us, but man, it makes it a lot easier, and it's massively underestimated. I think the stat is a 300% higher open rate. Last I checked on video email, guys. I mean, just think about having your emails open 300% more. So yeah, huge. BombBomb, Mojo, Ylopo, Agentology. For those of you that are growing teams, and if we could see everybody, I would ask them to like raise your hand if you enjoy making the initial phone calls and speed to lead and hammering leads until nobody, right? Nobody enjoys it, man. Huge shout out to Agentology, has been huge with us. We have an integration with them.
That's really cool, because we actually used Agentology, and then we ended up, as we progressed, we actually hired people. But Agentology is fantastic. So you guys got Agentology in there. That's huge, and they're out of San Diego.
Yep, and full integration with them. Yep, absolutely. So that they can do that. Rockerbox is another one. They've done great, but we've probably heard it just in some of the surveys we sent out recently. Man, Agentology huge. Mojo dialing systems. Again, we have a built-in dialer. You've probably seen it, which I love, because guys, something that's huge. All right, I want to talk to you. If you're a single agent and you're just getting going, or you're thinking about building a team, or if you're Kris and you have a team, guys, we are constantly needing to perfect our scripts, and we hate it. Right? We think we know everything. When you start using a system like Firepoint that has this built-in dialer, so that when you hang up the phone, first of all, you don't have to remember to log your call. It automatically goes on the lead profile, and now you can listen to it. So if you're on your own, when you start hearing what you say, you will start changing what you're saying to these leads that you're spending in some markets hundreds and hundreds of dollars per lead for, right? If not thousands if you're doing radio and television. If you're a team lead and you're spending money on these leads and handing them off, and now you can start going and listening to what your agents are saying on the initial calls or on the follow-up calls. Guys, it is great for one-on-ones where you can just sit there and listen like, hey, you want to know why Susie over here is selling 3 times the amount? Let's listen to some of her calls. Let's look at what she's doing when she calls, what she says. Now let's listen to yours. All of a sudden people start clicking, right? Having all that in the system automatically is great. So
That's power.
all tracked, put right in the system, man. It's just, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty fantastic. And actually, it's funny because leading up to this, and I remember when we were first looking at it, they mentioned, I'm like, wow, I physically would make agents, especially new agents, come in here and sit in my office for like 2 or 3 weeks before I cut them loose to make calls on their own, because I wanted to hear, listen, and know what they're doing. Now I'm able to sit at my desk or at home or whatever I'm doing, and I get to actually listen in, follow up, especially as a team lead. It's huge. So for those of you building a team or have a team, like that's massive. Being able to sit there and like listen in, and this is the big one. Okay. So I'm sending you deals or opportunities, excuse me. I'm sending you opportunities. I'm sending you leads. You're supposed to be following up. You're saying you're making the calls, you're making the calls.
I forgot to log it, Kris. I promise I made it. I just forgot to log it.
Saying I made the calls. But now as a team lead, I can look at how much I'm investing and what the returns are to the team. Because it was funny when we made the big conversion here locally, we found out off of 2 agents that had ended up leaving over a 6-month period, we had lost the potential of $460,000 worth of commission because they never called them. Right. And then as our ISA started going through, that's just lost money.
Yep. It's huge.
Yep. They said they were, oh yeah, I did it.
But you don't have time. You can't sit all those. So and again, because if I'm developing software and I've never been in your shoes or in my shoes as a team lead, understanding that, I wouldn't know. So we've created it to where I can literally say, hey, last week, I want to know who made phone calls. It's listed by agent on their phone calls. I can now click on that, see who they called, what time, just hit play. Listen. And you think about it from an accountability. So agents, if you're listening to this and watching like, oh my God, I would hate that. I don't want my team lead. You've got the wrong mindset. They're doing it because their goal is to make you more money, which is why you're in the business. So change your mindset there. But people are thinking about this, it's an accountability. What I've seen in a lot of our users, which is awesome, is it starts as accountability, but when you hang up, the recording goes into the lead profile, right? So it just literally goes there just like you would see on any audio file with the play button. And I can see that. But what's changed and what's cool is the people that have embraced this and the team leads have talked to them. As soon as that goes in there, I can go into the notes field and just go, at Kris, mention you, like I talk about social media. Hey, I just hung up and I think I missed an opportunity to set an appointment. Will you listen? And they hit end. What's awesome is, Kris, you get a text or an email, however you have it set up, that says, hey, Gabe Cordova just mentioned you on Bob Smith lead. Please listen to this call. I think I missed an opportunity. So in one touch, you can now listen to the call. And what's happened is this shift within the team is it's not an accountability thing. Now the agents are asking and raising their hands for coaching because they know you have this ability. Now they're saying, hey, will you please listen to this? Where did I go wrong? What could I have done different? Because they're realizing when they sit down with you, you can help them close it the next time, right? And that makes
it's about just conversion. And it's funny because I actually wrote that down. Like, originally when we started talking about the accountability, that's important as well. But to me, it's about the conversion. It's about, okay, so you've made, you've made 200 phone calls. You've done X number of follow-ups. You've done everything that's required in order to get a return. It's been a month, but you have no return. Yep. Well, let's figure out why you're not converting. And literally right there, you can figure it out and you can listen and you can coach, you can mentor, you can teach right on the spot, or even following up from listening to previous stuff. To me, as a previous team lead, that is magic.
It's huge.
I'm looking forward to doing that in the brokerage.
Yeah, it's great. And what happens when you take that approach to it is, I know a lot of teams that are now sharing a lot of those calls in their huddle. They're like, they'll share 2 or 3 oopses, like whatever, where people are like, hey, yep, I dropped the ball, or I screwed up, or I didn't follow the script, listen to how it goes. And then some successes, right? Let's just celebrate the wins as agents too. It's not always just about beating down your team. People are like, hey, listen to this call that said had agent or had this or whatever. And I kept going and asking the right questions and found out really they didn't have an agent. It was just an objection or so whatever their time frames is. Like, people start sharing those, and all of a sudden the agents that you're talking to, like, yeah, that's not real, or that doesn't happen, are now going, damn right, it's real. I just listened to it. I just literally heard it, or so-and-so shared it. And when it's all in the system, guys, like, the magic starts happening. And take it to this, I hang up the phone. It was a great conversation. And they gave me all this information that I got to type out now to tell my lender because they want to get qualified. That call's automatically there. I hit at lender's name, whatever it is. Please listen to previous call to set loan app ASAP. Hit enter. They get a link right back to that lead profile. They can listen to the call themselves, answer all the questions that they want, and then they can reach out to the lead. I mean, it's incredible.
You literally just said like 3 things, and I was over here. I don't know if you noticed taking mad notes. Okay, so I'm going to try to hit all 3 because all
Good
3
thing I talk slow.
Are huge. Oh, it's funny. I always have to slow myself down. I purposely slow myself down because in the beginning, when I started doing YouTube, they're like, I don't understand what's going on. You're talking way too fast, but I get excited.
That's me. That's my passion.
I'm passionate. When I started doing radio, when I was doing live radio, I would jump on there and I'm just like, I'm cooking. I'd have 4 or 5 guests. I'm running through all of them live radio, and
Yep.
I mean, 3 or 4 breaks in between, and I'm just running. But so I literally took a bunch of notes here, and it's fantastic. So for the people that are listening, we just talked about accountability. B, we talked about, it's an opportunity for coaching, but this is the big one that I got out of that. It's an opportunity for your morning role play. If you're not doing role playing in the morning, before you get on the phones, before you start following up with clients, before you really start getting after it, for one, cut it out. Okay. Cut it out. You need to start doing that. You need to start role playing. But for 2, this to me, like I wrote this down because we're going to implement it here. After hearing that, I'm like, this is an opportunity for our role playing. We do role playing every morning. So you know what? We're going to set it up. It's going to be part of role playing, listening, and actually coaching each other, right?
Absolutely.
Peer to peer. The other one that I put on here, was lenders. So you started mentioning lenders, and I have a love-hate relationship with what I've experienced with Boomtown and what I've experienced with Sync when it came to my lenders. I felt like we were on a joint adventure. The lenders are pretty much paying Sync or Boomtown for an opportunity to get inbound leads. I'm doing the same. We work together as a partnership, a team, to go out and generate opportunity for each other, right? But it was always like this divided I never knew what the hell was going on, and they never knew what was going on with me either. And it seems like with Firepoint, it's completely different. So can you give us a quick rundown of how that works out with okay, so I'm going to break this down. What are the benefits to lenders to teaming up with an agent? Okay, so let's benefit.
You want to start there?
Okay. Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, so I'm gonna add to that question. I think what's the benefit to the lender and or the agent? Because it's mutual. It has to be win-win, right? Or it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
So the benefit is when you're doing lead generation. Let's say you don't have the lender. You're hammering the phones. We know it takes multiple calls, multiple emails, multiple texts to get the conversion. I mean, you already said it's all about the conversion, right? You're on your own. They're trying to believe what you're saying. Now bring in, and you're paying for it all. Your time is money. Your cost to generate it is money, and you're doing it all. And if we're being honest, you can't do probably what it needs to do if you're doing that and out showing property and doing the things that cost or that make money. All right. Partner with a lender. All right. The obvious right off the bat, the cost goes down. You're both doing it. Okay, so it's coming in. But now, if you work with the lender the right way, and I think you can do this the right way and the wrong way, and I'll tell you how I did it, where we had massive success with our lender. Do it how you want. I know a lot of teams that the lenders make the initial call or right away. We found the sweet spot, and I mean, we were only selling 600, 700, 800 homes a year with our team, so we were doing well. Is we always ask the lender to wait 2 days, guys. We asked them to wait 2 days unless financing came up in the first 2 days. So lead would come in. We would start our rule of 3 where we're doing our prospecting and everything, and then day 2 is when the lender comes in. So at that point, and the reason we ask the lender wait 2 days, who when they register on a website wants to talk about their financials and their tax return, like they don't want to do it. They want to talk about, you'll always hear me say this if you've seen any of my webinars, pretty pictures of pretty homes. That's what they're excited about. That's why they registered. So 2 days of hearing about us, whatever the scripts are and how we're following it up, and you've in there at least mentioned pre-qualify or financing once or twice. But then your lenders should be mentioning, first of all, identifying with the lead that comes in by the website. Okay, so my website's Core Home Search. So when the lender calls in, should be, hey, this is Gabe with ABC Mortgage, calling because you recently visited corehomesearch.com, wanted blah blah. And by the way, if you're looking for homes, Kris over at is it KSA? Whatever it is, it is great, and they can answer all your questions. So what starts happening is when you have a lender and an agent both prospecting the same lead, you should be mentioning ABC Mortgage. They should be mentioning ABC Real Estate Company or whatever. All of a sudden, they're hearing the same thing. Somebody's going to hit them, right? So the last year, most often, the ISA, depending on your team structure, the agent or the ISA, agentology, whoever it is going to get the connection first because they do a showing request or an info request or something like that, right? Or please adjust the parameters on my home search. So we get it. But what we found after doing this for years, and again, if you're doing PPC or Facebook, we know that there's an incubation period, or at least you should know that there's a long incubation to get those to come back. That's why they're much less expensive. That last year, I think our lender sent back about 80 deals that they made contact. So the benefits are lower cost per person, and you have a teamwork because you're mentioning each other, sharing that follow-up. So both of you can be doing more DPA, dollar productive activities, which is showing property, negotiating contracts, and taking listings. Right. So there's multiple benefits to partnering with that lender, and everybody loves working with a team, right? The lender is an extension of that team. The agent is an extension of that lender's team when you're doing your prospecting, your follow-up, because the other thing I'll tell you a lot is focus on the service, not the sale, when it's getting people to raise their hand and talk to you, right? They want to be taken care of. So we
talk about that all the time here. And the big one is I just keep them talking. Everybody's becoming so pitch sensitive. I mean, at least that's my opinion. Everybody's so sensitive to the pitch now. It's like, maybe just stop trying to you want to buy a house? Buy my house.
Right.
Buy a house for me. Like, don't stop.
Yeah.
Be of service. Like, genuinely come from a place in your heart where it's like, I want to help you refine your home search. You know, I want to help you actually go out and find what you're looking for. What else do you need? Are you looking for lending? Have you considered this? You know, just be of service first. Okay. So
can I comment on that just because I can't help myself?
Yeah,
I think it's huge. So one thing, guys, here's a huge tip that'll change how your lead conversion goes. When you're doing any type of lead generation where people are force registering and raising their hand, you got to get them on those property searches. You hit it on the head. Like, let me refine the search. So what you need to do, most agents they kill themselves. They, oh, this person came out and looked at 3 homes, so I'm going to create the save search based around that. And the results is like 20 or 30. Don't do it. When you create those save searches right off the bat, guys, that should be 200 plus homes. Open it up. Open up the price range. We know we would never have a buyer do that, but you got to shift the dynamics, focus on the service, because if you haven't spoke with them yet, open up that search criteria. 200 plus homes is going to be too big of a price range, too big of an area. I know that, you know that. But here's what happens. Once you set it up in that first day of prospecting, then you send the bomb video email out to them. And it's something like, hey, Kris, Gabe here. Tried reaching out to you. Sorry I missed you, but want to let you know I'm going to start sending you listings today. I wasn't real sure about the price range of the area, so please let me know how I can make an adjustment so it just fits exactly you and your family's criteria. All my contact information is below. Bye.
Right. Money.
So what you just did, you focus on the service, and you asked them to correct you. So when they reach out and say, yeah, our price range is really here or this area, the whole dynamic just switched because they just asked you to provide service. So
right.
Sorry,
yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's gold right there. Hey,
Sorry.
If you were listening to that's all gold. So I think the last question when it came to the lender stuff. So how does it work within Firepoint between the lender and the agent? Like, what kind of information can they communicate in between each other to make sure that they're staying on the same page?
So you have a ton of flexibility, because this is something that was really important to me too, because I was limited in other software that I had, and I might have had two different lenders doing PPC, or I might have had somebody doing Zillow and this and that, and I needed more control over my lead distribution. So first of all, we give you complete control. You can say any lead that comes from this goes to this lender, or to these lenders, or to this agent, and to this ISA, and to this lender. We give you complete control on how to set that up and how it goes. Once they come in, everybody gets notified. Something else that's unique about us that drove me crazy is we are all sharing a status, right? And the agent statuses didn't make sense for lenders. Lender statuses are different. They didn't care about nurture and this and that. They cared about qualify, credit repair, approved, whatever. So we give everybody their own statuses to filter and search bar, but then we allow you to put anything that you want to share. Everything is in one lead profile, whether it's, and again, it's what you want. So before the question comes up, oh my gosh, no, their social security numbers. The lenders don't have to put this information if they don't want to, but any prospecting communication should be in there, right? Because there's nothing sensitive in the prospecting. So the emails, the texts, the calls, everything is in there so everybody can see it. If somebody mentions it or makes contact and they want to mention the other person, again, quickly in a note, you just hit the @ sign and their name. Anybody in that low lead profile can be mentioned. And as one button, they get notified so they can touch on their phone or on their computer, pulls up that lead profile and all those notes. You never left the system. So it takes all that communication into one spot. And then I don't have to also go filtering just through the history. We break it down kind of like Gmail, where I can look in my inbox and my sent box within Firepoint, and then there's what we call the team sent and team inbox, which is everybody else, not me. So now I can just click on that and see who else on the in my company is reaching out to this lead, and I can see all of their emails, when they were sent, were they opened, were they not. So I know what's going on before I pick up the phone or before I reach out. So it's just
awesome.
way
so
more
you're
transparency.
Walking in like eyes wide open. You're actually walking into more of an opportunity to win, which was my biggest concern with the other ones, because I was always mute to what was going on the other side. So I don't know. I'd have to make multiple calls. You've been communicating with so-and-so. What did you talk about? Well, I don't really remember. It happened like a week ago. That doesn't help me any. It doesn't help us close or actually convert. No. That's really
or did this ever happen? Did you ever create a task for your lender, and then basically when you do that, they just check it off, but you didn't know what the hell happened. So the other thing that we changed is when you go to complete a task, whether you're a lender or an agent, but specifically for my lenders, I can create a task for them. Even if I mention them, I'm a little bit of a control freak. I want to create them a task to take a loan app, and I can place it for them. They get notified. But when they go to hit that checkbox to complete it, which in most systems just like puts a line through it and throws it in the history, but you're like, what the hell happened? I don't know. They get prompted. What was the resolution? Right. So now I know. So now in one spot, yes, you gave me a task to take a loan app. I can type it all out here. I can mention you. It's all literally in one spot. So I don't have to then wonder. And now they don't have to pick up the phone and email me again. The idea is getting everybody literally on that lead profile for all communication.
That's awesome.
Including the lenders.
You mentioned something else that I want to talk about real quick. So everybody, I hear it all the time, and I got to say, I've used. I'm a huge believer when I go on listing appointments, and I talk about this all the time when people watch me on YouTube. Right? This is like my most powerful weapon.
Mhm.
And I'm a firm believer. I actually educate whenever I'm at a listing appointment. I'm educating them because usually out here, so I'm in San Diego, so North San Diego County. I'm also in South Riverside. In San Diego specifically, I usually have 12 other people that they're interviewing.
Mhm.
So I'm always going up against other people, and they're like, "Well, so and so says they do social media." I'm like, "Great, fantastic. Did you ask them to show you?" Well, what do you
Right.
mean? Well, hold on one second. Let me pull up. Like, so what's important to you? Facebook? Okay. Well, do they have 54,000 followers? Wait, who was it? Here, let's look them up. Oh, they have 300. I have 54,000. So it's like a show me thing for me. And whenever they're like, well, that so-and-so agent said that they actually have a database of active qualified buyers. This is fantastic. Like,
Right.
how many? Well, they say they have, like 2,000 people. Great. Did they show you?
Right.
No, here, hold on one second. Let me pull this up, and I'll pull up, that database of actually
Right.
real time. And I said,
Yep.
am I going to show you the database? But I'm going to show you what they're looking at. I'm going to show you how I'm getting them, because that's through pay-per-click, that's through redirections, that's through Facebook, that's through, and I keep going, right? That's through
Right.
Zillow, that's through this, that, and the other. So what I'm asking is mobile friendly. Like, how mobile friendly is Firepoint?
So if you want to, okay, good question. So everything is mobile optimized. I can do just about everything on here. It is not a full native app. If you want to know, one of our weak spots is that we don't have a full native app yet actually released, but let me see if I can even show you. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can see it. That's my dog, first of all.
Yeah.
But right there, we're actually in beta. We should be releasing this in the next couple of weeks. So we are mobile optimized. I can text, I can call, I can do call recording, I can email templates, accept leads. I can do it all today.
Right.
Is it as good as it can be? Honestly, no. It could be better. It's one of our weak spots.
But see, that's the best answer. And this has been one of my other complaints is, hey, this sucks. It works, but it sucks. Well, it works pretty good. Well, what are you guys doing? What are you like? Are you going to do anything? No, because it works. Yeah, but it sucks. See, I would rather somebody say it works pretty good, but we still see a deficiency. I love the fact when somebody sits there and I did a video this morning on this, take ownership and say, you know what? I'm not playing the blame game. I'm not going to be a victim. This is where we are. It works pretty darn good. We could let it alone, but you know what? We're not. We're going to make it better. And we're not only going to make it better, but we're going to make it to where you can physically do it as if it's like that. See, that excites me, because I can't do that with the other two platforms that I've used in the past. It is not you. I can't just live off of my phone, which I do most of the time. I live off my phone, or my iPad is over here, so that's exciting to me.
Yeah. Definitely an area we've needed to improve, and we're excited that we're actually finally testing it internally and going to clients here in the next week or two. So we're really excited about that. So on your gosh, I can't share screen, can I?
No, I don't think you can on here, but what we can do maybe another time, we could set up a GoToMeeting or something, or a Zoom.
Yeah, the only thing I was like one of my, and I don't know if you see me do it, but like one of my things that I think people drastically underutilize their CRM for is exactly what you're just talking about, that listing appointment. I was going to share exactly what I would do and share my script and walk through. But yeah, on a later one, I'd love to share that with people, because
that'd be great.
Man, it is something that's completely underutilized, and it just comes down when you have the right script and then you're showing somebody the technology and how it works. Deal over, right? They're like, where do I sign? Where do I sign?
I mean, my conversion rate on listing appointments are amazing. And it's a big reason for it is literally when I walk in, I don't just talk about it. I'm not just trying to shine you on with words. And that's what a lot of agents do. Well, I take professional photos. Yeah, okay, show me. And, I work with technology. Show me. Well, like, what does that mean? What is technology? And it's funny because everybody uses it. They say, I hear it all the time, every time I walk in. And usually when people meet me, and they end up giving me the listing, they're giggling because I physically write it all out and then I physically show them. So, well, we do social media. So what is it? And I ask clients, I say, so what do you think social media is? Like, what is doing social media? Did any of these people that do social media explain what do you think doing social media is? How do you think the person that's selling your house, you're trying to hire somebody to provide a service to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time? What do you think is important with social media to get it sold? Like, what is that?
Yep.
And it always blows my mind.
Yeah. And if you're in a market, and I think most of us are, where they're interviewing multiple agents, I love getting it out there. I'm going to put it as an advantage to me. So I'm right off the bat when we're sitting there, hey, Kris, I'm assuming you and your wife are interviewing other agents to sell your home, correct? They're like, yeah, we are. Awesome. Have all those other agents shown you their list of active and hot buyers by chance? They look at each other. No, what do you mean? Awesome. Well, because I leverage technology and social media, what I want to show you is and then I literally use the technology so I can put in front of them literally hundreds of people looking for homes in their price range, in their area. And then I said, just make sure, as you're interviewing, that you're asking for that list of active and hot buyers. Nobody's going to be able to do it. Nobody's going to be able to provide it. And even people listening to this still aren't going to do it. So guys, there are tools that your CRM and your system will allow you to do. And there's so many tools that we can just put at your fingertips, but you do have to use them. Right?
I wish agents would, but because I'm still an active agent, I'm glad they don't. I mean, because it helps me win all the time. Every time I go in, I win. It's fantastic.
Yep.
So I got two more things because I know you're extremely busy, and I actually have another meeting coming up. I have two more big questions that I really want to address. Okay, so this is one of the things, and it's sort of, and it's also making people aware, because part of this interview is for our agents in the brokerage. I want them to learn about Firepoint and what we're transitioning to.
Yeah.
But it's also for people that follow me on YouTube. It's so they can actually hear and learn, as a benefit as well. The website itself, one of my biggest complaints, again, as a tech guy, one of my biggest complaints is it gave me no flexibility to really use or utilize it. So it was basically somebody would go to it, they would have a pretty picture, they could do a search, but there was nothing else of value that I could add to the website. I couldn't create videos to put on my website. I couldn't create information blogs. I couldn't, and even if I could, so one of the systems I used, I could, but you literally needed like a doctorate in order to set it up. So the two questions I would ask is, can you add, it's sort of two on the first question. Can you add extra stuff outside of the basic website? What can you add? And do you have to be like a computer guru to figure it out?
Absolutely. Awesome. Good question. So we also want to be your partner in this. So we give you, for the actual homepage, we have two different options. I'm a firm believer in your homepage should be geared towards sellers. All right. I think buyers are searching home terms like homes for sale in San Diego or something like that. Buyers rarely land on your homepage. Buyers are going to search results pages. Sellers are Googling KS agent because they heard you, right? They're looking for brands. They're looking for popular agents. They typically want to learn more about you. They go to your landing page. So we give you two options. You can have a buyer homepage or a seller homepage. The seller homepage, because we want to make it easy, you can customize the color, the message. There's a form there. There's also a place to insert one main video. So testimonial videos are huge, and up to, I think, 3 other videos so that you can have, whether they're your marketing videos, whatever they are, on there, logo partners, all that, so that if you have a vendor program, stuff like that for the homepage. Then in addition, you mentioned blog. We have a beautiful you can do blogs on your own. We have full custom pages where you can bring in video, photos, and all that. And it's pretty much like drag and drop. It's super, super easy. So no, you do not have to be a developer to make it work. But when it comes to blog, we have a beautiful layout. Also, drag and drop, put in your content, and it's laid out and it looks gorgeous, right?
Awesome.
So you can do the video and all that. We have 2 different options for you for the homepage, agent pages. Now, just to clarify, the full-on custom pages, now the blog and all the pre-template pages that we have are available on both platforms. The full customizable, create your own blank pages is only in our Firepoint platform, so it's not in the 175. So that was one. So that's in the $350 a month with 5 users. But the blog and all that other stuff in both the home pages, home valuation pages, all those are in both products. So no, super easy. Again, we had to make it easy because we know a lot of these people, A, don't have time to figure it out, and B, probably have never been a web developer before to do it.
Right. Awesome. That absolutely answered everything. And then I think the very last question I want to ask you is, do you have other products? I heard you have other products that actually will help agents, scale their business. Yeah.
So if you're interested, we'd love to, and we don't really like do quote unquote demos. To us, it's more of a consultation because everybody's doing their business different. So our entire team wants to have a consult with you on how you do it. So we have the 2 products. So Ignite, guys, Ignite is the one that's 175, comes with 2 users. All the features when it comes to conversion, all that, it just doesn't have custom pages, transaction management, or our expense tracking, ROI reporting, but has everything else. So that's 175. And then we have our Firepoint, which comes with 5 platforms and has all the other features so that you can pick the product that scales with you. And they're growing constantly. Like we've got, I wonder if I can say it. I think we can. So we've got our version of what lead ponds are and how they should work for teams and agents coming out into beta next week. It's incredible. We're excited about it. It'll be in that bigger platform, but constantly improving with our integrations, which will work in both. But all the other integrations like the agentology, bomb, all that in both product levels for every user. So, check us out. I think we gave you a link, Kris, too. So if you wanted to post that, if you are going to check us out, we want to thank Kris for helping us out. We want to know you came from this and all that. So we'd love for you to use that link when you come in, or if you already scheduled something, just tell them that you were on this. We'd love to make sure we know where you came from, just like every agent, our leads. So yeah, a little bit of a different product for everybody so they can scale as they go.
Right on. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'll be sure. I'm going to post it up on YouTube. I'll post it up on Facebook as far as a link. And if you'll, I know a lot of people have been waiting and a lot of people have been asking me. The podcast will be out this month. Even though it's on SoundCloud, I have not set up and structured an actual podcast. I finally decided to do it just because there's so many people follow me now and that actually want to hear, which is crazy to me sometimes. They actually want to hear what I think. So right on. Might as well make a podcast and let them listen to me some more. So, hey, awesome. Gabe, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. This was a selfish desire of mine because A, I wanted to talk with you. B, I also wanted to make sure our agents heard from your mouth. They aren't listening from Kris's mouth on what Firepoint is, which they will. They're going to hear a lot about it from me. But they're going to hear it from your mouth on what Firepoint is and why it's beneficial to our business. And I think it's an opportunity for people that are out there all over the United States that are listening or watching the Real Estate Blitz to know what Firepoint is about as well. Because I'm telling you, I think in a short amount of time, and I think, so you all don't know this, but Gabe and I were talking before we actually jumped on here. It blows my mind the amount of hustle that you personally have. Like everywhere I look, you're there. You travel, you work.
I never sleep.
And you're willing to take time. Like right now, I'm nobody in the grand scheme of things, but you're willing to sit down and take the time to communicate with me. And that's fantastic. And I think what it is you have what I have. It's a deep burning desire and passion for your product and what you do and how you service people. And that's why you don't sleep and you're still out there. And I really respect that a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. And it really is, guys. And I would love to do another when we're talking about system implementation and system best practices. And I don't even care if you're a Firepoint user. It is a passion of mine. And if you see me at Club Wealth events, Michael Helix and I speak a lot at his events. We have a lot of top producers and other events. It truly is about just using these tools, whether you're a client or not, get in there, up the game in real estate. I think we're a lot better group of people than we get credit for. Professionals and our jobs, if ever, have been questioned whether we're needed or not. Having the right tools just up your game, efficiency, everything. So yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, I'd love to do anything else I can to help any way I can.
Right on. Thanks a lot, Gabe. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody else, for watching the And we're going to end this. I'll put it up on YouTube. It'll probably be on tonight or early tomorrow morning. For those of you watch on Facebook and that dropped all the comments, thank you all so much. And get out there and do great things in real estate. Make us look good. All right. Have a good one.